On this episode, we speak to labor and employment attorney Sandra Jean, who will shed some light on the role of human resources and the benefits offered by your employer as it relates to domestic violence. Part 2.
I also want to talk a little bit about employment rights. The Family Medical Leave Act is something that people don't use as often as they should. The Family and Medical Leave Act is an act that was passed by Congress to protect employees that have worked two things: more than a year, 12 months, and secondly, if you've worked more than 1,250 hours in the previous 12 months. And so you become eligible for FMLA if these two criteria are met. Very often people don't understand, if you have an issue such as domestic violence and you need to take time off because you feel like you're overwhelmed, go to your doctor, get a note that says so-and-so needs a break from work, and submit your request for FMLA. Because if you're eligible, your employer must grant you the time, as long as it's supported by a certification from your medical provider that says you need the time off. Sometimes people are not eligible for FMLA, but many companies offer personal leave or medical leave. That's another type of leave that an employee can access so that they can take a break from work.
And they don't necessarily have to have that time in, like
you can take it unpaid.
Unpaid.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's not preferable.
Right.
In my company, you can put in an application with the foundation, and they would help you so you can get back on your feet. Other companies may or may not have a foundation, so they just have to find out, what's available to them and what's the best way for them to be able to, again, transition. I want to use the word transition because the objective is for you to take care of yourself and get better.
Yes.
I do not like when women just continue to keep themselves in those situations. It's not healthy for them, it's not healthy for their children, and it's not healthy for the family overall. And I know sometimes they can't just leave. However, the end goal is to empower yourself and be able to get out of the situation, because everybody will be better off, including society.
Yes.
Will be better off for it.
And that's one of the things that we stress in the community, because we come across a lot of people, women, even women, that says, it doesn't affect me. This subject, I've never gone through it. Well, we're happy for you. We want that to continue. And she said, why should I care about domestic violence? I always tell them one thing. First, if you have children, it'll affect you, because you don't know who your children are in contact with, what they're going through at home, and how they can show, or if they're friends with your children, who are they learning how to love from, and your children are coming into contact. Also work related, as you mentioned, with job performances, with missed days and all that. It affects us as a community one way or another.
Knowledge is power. So you should never turn down knowledge, even if it's not impacting you today. You don't know down the road, to your point. Even if you've never been impacted, if you don't know anyone, you never know down the road who you might get in contact with, who might benefit from your knowledge.
Exactly.
So why turn away the knowledge? Why turn away an issue that is so common? And we talk about women, but there are many men that are also victims. They just don't talk about it. Because in our society, it's supposed to be matches more,
Right.
And so women are more forthcoming, but many men also deal with the issue, and it impacts them internally. They internalize it.
And that's one of the things we try, by opening the door, having conversation, inviting men into the conversation, that we open the door for them to express themselves and find healthy ways, healthy relationship ways to let go of all these things that you've gone through, maybe as a child or going through right now. So that is great information. I also wanted to express what I've been hearing out there. You are in law, and a lot of the victims sometimes are immigrants and are scared to go to the police.
That's right.
And they're scared to report it because they're being threatened. If you let someone know, then they'll send you back.
Right.
Or so, what do you have to say to someone that's going through, to a woman that's going through that and is afraid because maybe her status, she's not legal in the country, but is afraid to report what's going on? What would be your advice to that person?
First, I would acknowledge the fear, especially in these days, the surrounding of people that are not legal and shipping them to detention centers. So I would acknowledge the fear, but it shouldn't stop them. Because in my limited experience, because I did family law for 2 years and I got out because emotionally I couldn't deal with it. I did more specifically domestic violence, and I used to help get restraining orders, and I couldn't deal with it emotionally. I got out and went into something safe like in labor and employment. But I would say this, many attorneys offer free 30-minute consultation, or they do so at a nominal cost. It's not a lot of money. I know when you're dealing with that, the last thing you need is to have to pay an attorney an additional, even if it's $100, it's a lot of money. What I would encourage them to do is to seek help. There are so many organizations that are dedicated, and don't ask me for names right now, but there are organizations. They can type, Google is your best friend, honestly. You can Google organizations that help domestic abuse victims, and something will come up.
I don't mean to cut you off. Even us, we come up, but we can find a resource for you because we are not at a level where we have the money ourselves. That's why we focus on a lot of fundraising so that we can be able to help someone that may need help with a bill or something. Or
I've seen the work that you guys do around the holidays.
Around the holidays, and we actually used to have a food bank, but because of the lack of funds and everything, we had to close it down. But so organization like ourselves, you can Google us, and then just calling, and then we'll guide you to that place,
and even help them find attorneys that can help them get out of the situation legally. Because technically, when you bring a suit under family law, your immigration status should not be a factor unless the spouse brings it up as a factor. But technically, it's a different area of the law. It's not, immigration should not, play a factor in it. But I will recommend you to speak to immigration attorneys. We have a few.
We are so fortunate to know quite a few attorneys. And so I'm going to do a few name drops. We have Attorney Kamei Jackson and Attorney...
Congratulations, she's getting married.
And Attorney Judith Montgomery.
That's right.
And Attorney Coleman, actually. Yes, who just had a baby. So congratulations.
That's right.
Yes. So we are so fortunate in the organization to know attorneys such as yourself, and to know that we have your support in the organization, that we can go to you for any questions, or even finding more resources where you could guide us to help these women that are going through, and these families that are going through these issues. Do you have any words of encouragement for anyone that is going through some type of hardship out there? As a woman yourself, what message of hope do you have for someone out there?
Well, the message of hope that I have is that it's only for a period of time. However, stay encouraged, keep your heads up. Many people don't come out of a domestic abuse situation. Many of our young women die and are victims, like fatal victims. So if you're going through it, I would say make sure that you stay connected to other people. Don't go into hiding. That's easy to do. Seek out resources, seek out help. We're here to help you, but we can't help you if we don't know what you're going through. So stay connected, cry, drink. That's what you gotta do.
No, we're not going to promote the drinking part.
Well, it could have been water. But
stay hydrated. frustrated.
And find actually, okay, so because I mean, drinking helps some people, I heard. But even your church, you know, in I do have a word, and it's for the liturgy, for the clergy. Because a lot of people go to their pastors or to their priest or whoever to help them navigate periods like this. And what they do is they say pray and God will provide, and I'm all about that. I'm a Christian, you know, I go to church. However, there's a passage, and I only know it in French, but it says help yourself so that God can help you. And what I recommend is that you empower yourself. Pray, seek the help, but your divinity is from within yourself. So clergy, please help the community. Let the women come forward, or men, and provide them with resources. It shouldn't be a taboo subject. It should be something we talk about, just like if someone is homeless or they don't have clothes or food. People should feel encouraged and empowered to come forward. And young women, men, if you're going through it, stay connected. Don't go into hiding.
And one of the most important things also that we have to stress is by keeping quiet, the community is not doing anything but helping the perpetrator. The keep silence doesn't do anything but make the victim more of a victim. So and by speaking out, even if you don't get the help that you deserve, but speaking out helps the next person say, you know what, she went through it and she spoke about it, she spoke out, then I can go ahead and speak about it, because you're not alone. You're not alone in it, and know that there are people here for you. The organization is here for you, and there are resources out there for you at work and in your community available to you.
And I want to point out, when you speak up, you help the perpetrator as well. Because the worst thing is to allow the behavior to continue and escalate, and all of a sudden, because eventually it comes to a head. So somebody's going to find out about it. And the person ends up in jail, and it's like, no, nip it in the bud. The minute it happens, say, honey, I love you, but this ain't gonna happen again. Because if it does, it ain't gonna be good. So you help that person as well by stopping it. And even young kids, I mean, my goodness, it starts in middle school now, and high school. You know, don't allow it. And just stand up for yourself and stand up for the person. If you love them, tell them that behavior is not acceptable the first time it happens.
And we speak a lot about that. We are just, I'm just thinking about our roundtable conversation, and it's just a shame that you were not able to be on that. But we thank you so much for all the knowledge and everything that you've come today and shared with us. Is there a way that someone watching maybe might want to reach out to you, or if they have any questions, or do you have maybe a platform or something where they would be able to reach out to you?
I do not. I mean, I do have my personal, because I work full time as the labor and employment attorney, as well as the VP of HR. That takes a lot of my time.
I can understand that.
If anybody needs help, I would suggest they reach out to International Women of Hope, and I know you will give them your information as to how to reach you, and then you reach out to me as needed. If I cannot help, I will reach out to my network and ask for whatever, a referral, whatever we need to, and help them. But I would suggest that anybody needing help reaches out to International Women of Hope.
Absolutely, absolutely. So at the end of the segment, all our contact information is on there, and we are on Facebook, on Instagram, and our website. So please do reach out to us. Reach out to us if you just want to help as well. You don't have to be a victim to reach out to us. And
stay connected.
So just stay connected, follow us, and help us spread the word, help us bring awareness, and help us stop this silent killer in our community, this disease, so that it doesn't affect. We don't want it to become a cycle for our children, when we're no longer there for our children to say, what did our parents do about this issue? So we definitely want you involved. We want everyone in our community to become an agent of hope. With that said, we're happy that we brought healing opportunity purpose and empowerment into your home, into your workplace, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.